You see that? What is that light?
On the next all-new episode of Made in Abyss.
Poison gas! Don't breathe it in! Time to run! Right now, guys! Hurry!
Made in Abyss. Next Saturday at 12:30. Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
The following program may contain coarse language, suggestive dialogue, and discussion of violent imagery and sexual situations. It is intended for mature listeners who can tell the difference between facts and opinions.
We're experiencing Bondrud's hospitality on this episode of the Toonami Faithful Podcast. I am your host, Sketch, and with me I have...
It's Samurai Darrell Maddox, finally making an appearance again.
Yes! And also...
Editorial writer, LaserKid.
We had a nice surprise that the second season of Made in Abyss is coming to Toonami this upcoming week. But there's a little problem. There is a plot important movie that is not going to air. And we watched it, so you don't have to.
I think it killed Kuro.
Yeah. I asked Kuro if she wanted to be on this, knowing full well her feelings towards the movie and her feelings towards me for suggesting she watch it.
You really traumatized Kuro with
I guess
the series didn't seem to bother her that much, but as soon as we watched that movie and we were talking about that movie, oh god, it killed her, and I feel so bad for her.
Things happen in that movie that are unpleasant to experience.
This is not untrue.
Very, very unpleasant to experience.
I mean, I've sat through some stuff, man, but this is one of the all-time most unpleasant movies that I have seen.
I know, right? It's like you watch it once and you kind of never want to watch it again.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I'm probably I watched
good
it.
on that, dude.
I'm glad that I watched it for plot purposes. Do I ever want to watch again? No.
Dude, this was the equivalent of Jägermeister for me, because I hate Jaeger. I hate Jägermeister with a passion. Right along with Hennessy. You know better, you do better. So yeah, this was like a combination of Hennessy and Jägermeister mixed together. And it left a bad taste in my mouth. But for plot, just filling those plot holes.
I mean, it's really good writing. It's just super depressing.
Super depressing, super disturbing, super twisted. I mean, what happens to Nanashi and Mitty and all of those other tough subjects that we see in the last episode of season 1? You know that Bondrud's a sick puppy.
I'm gonna put it to you like this, man. Bondrud makes Shao Tucker look like a goddamn saint.
I would normally want to argue with that, but
probably because I feel like it's some manner Shao Tucker has like at least a bit of remorse for what he's done.
He snapped. Shao Tucker snapped. This is deliberate choicing over here.
Bondrud's research is so important to him that he has developed this twisted sense of love for his test subjects. And he takes it to the logical extreme in this film. Yeah. Because as he learned from the experiment with Nanashi and Mitty, if somebody else is there to absorb the bad parts of the curse, then somebody else can potentially receive just what he considers the blessing. That's when you don't necessarily lose all of your capacities. You might take on a better form, debatable.
You get turned into a furry.
Yeah,
Oh my
you get turned into a fuzzy bunny rabbit type thing, or other things. It's not necessarily that,
But you're still very much sentient, alive, and arguably not suffering while simply existing.
Yeah,
Which is what happened to Mitty.
Yeah.
You're not human anymore, at least not
No.
physically, but you're not worse off per se. And you have developed amazing new things, like Nanachi has really good smell and hearing, right? So these are superhuman abilities. And Bondrewd is very interested in using the blessing to develop superhuman abilities, which is something that he has done. And he also has plenty of other tricks up his sleeve. But as this film starts out, they're just beginning their next leg of the journey. They go to a garden of eternal fortunes, and there's these really nasty bugs that need to be eradicated. So one of Bondrewd's Umbra hands, as he calls them, or like helping hands, is just burning all of these flowers in order to kill these insect creatures.
Yeah, I think they were called stinger heads.
Something like that. And
yeah, it was called a stinger head.
And of course, our trio does get into a little bit of trouble there, but they manage to get out of there fairly unscathed. And the Umber Hand says that Bondrewd is awaiting their arrival.
Very interesting.
Oh. Well, Nanachi knows that there's no way to get down to the 6th layer without confronting Bondrewd. Unless they're like really lucky and he's not home. But as you may come to understand, he's always home. Somehow. Some way.
I mean,
So-
like, dude is like literally like the Orochimaru of the fucking abyss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kinda.
Really?
It's just the references tonight, man, that really just,
Or-
that just really just,
Naraku, one of the...
yeah,
How Naraku can have multiple forms.
exactly.
Yeah, Bondrewd can be in multiple bodies at multiple times because he has a special relic called the... what's that?
It's called a Zoaholic.
Yeah, the Zoaholic, which is like a vulva-shaped plant thing?
You might as well just say he got a special type of. Never mind. Shut up, Darrell. Just think of the rose, people. The rose, ladies. You know what I'm talking about. If you know what the rose is, that's.
Oh my gosh.
Look, as people who are about to experience season 2 will come to understand very quickly, there's a lot of genitalia-shaped things in Made in Abyss.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean it's like a really phallic type of thing.
Dicks as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, finally got to the
Dicks
point. You gotta.
everywhere.
You're saying I don't know dick?
You got some solid dick.
So they go down to Bondrewd's base, the Edo fronts, and they meet a cute little girl named Prushka, who refers to Bondrewd as Papa. Oh, no.
I don't know how to feel about that one. Well, actually, I know exactly how to feel about that one, but when it first happened, I didn't know how to feel about that one.
So, unsurprisingly, she makes quick friends with Rico, and, well, mainly with Rico. I mean, Reg doesn't really trust her, and Nanachi really doesn't trust her. And so she mainly makes friends with Rico, and Prushka also has a little creature that hangs out with her named Menya. It's a little fuzzy, bunny-looking thing with kind of a frog face. It's cute. It's cute, and it poops.
That's about right.
Yep. So Bondrewd offers his hospitality to them. He gives them a room to stay in, though it's awfully similar to a jail cell, though there's no bars. Kind of like a dungeon room. Like in a submarine, like that kind of door. So they're given that room and some provisions because they're hungry. And later that night, Nanashi goes to talk to Bondrewd and asks, "Hey, look, I'll be your assistant again if you grant everyone else passage to the 6th lair." He's like, "Okay, I'll let the girl go. Well, what about the robot boy?" "Oh, about that.
Oh, boy.
It seems I may have already started some research." Oh, boy. This is
the uncomfortableness.
This is disgusting.
Yeah.
They got Reg hooked up to this machine. A bunch of the Umbra Hands are hoarded around him, taking fluids of every orifice, including the dick.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure what that liquid was.
I don't think I want to know.
Both answers are not good. And then they wanted to test his durability. So they used Bondrewd's special laser, which has similar properties to Reg's incinerator, only it's, kind of a finer point laser. And they slice off his arm, and you can see the blood inside of his arm just kind of gush out, and it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Not good.
No, not good at all. And Prushka tries to stop them, and they're like, "No, you're not allowed up here." It's like, why am I not allowed up here? Prushka helped Rico, who, once again, classic Rico, has to find the bathroom in the middle of the night, and she's not sure where to go, and she starts walking up some steps, and we all know that that's not a good idea.
No, not really a good idea at all.
She starts getting hit by the curse, but thankfully, Prushka is able to guide her up the steps. But Rico still gets some damage. Like she thinks she makes it up the steps, but in reality, she fell down the steps, smashed up her face, and is not doing so great.
Rico's, I have to say it, man. She literally is just constantly taking insane shits, man. Like, what? No. How weak is your constitution that you have to go to the toilet like that, man?
Yeah, she got to go a lot.
I believe the freaking author has like a dookie fetish, man.
Probably.
I mean, like, seriously, it's like some of the things that made into this just kind of like they really it's kind of disturbing at times. Like, seriously? Dude, what is your problem? I'm just wondering what it would be like if I had some damn edibles and I watched Made in Abyss, or I was living.
Oh my god!
It's like you're experiencing the curse.
Shit, the curse, man. I just don't know, man. But I still feel like dude got like a dookie fetish and a phallic, phallic goddamn.
I mean. The author's barely disguised fetish. The series. Yeah.
Like, dude, I really don't want to see a character constantly going to the John.
No, I don't think any of us really want to see that. It's just kind of weird.
I'm like, dude, this is.
But how else would you find out that the bathrooms at the at Bondrewd's place are just a hole in the ground?
Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about the other one.
Jojo, get your heart out.
Could have.
Yeah, holding her out.
I think I'll hold it.
Well, to be honest with you,
that pig's got to eat.
If you have ever been in certain parts of the world, man, yeah, there are toilets like that where you have to literally squat.
Yeah.
Mainly, like I know in some parts of India, Middle East. Like
now, I choose to squat because I don't want to touch public toilets.
I mean, yeah.
Dude, I don't even remember the last time I used a public toilet. Dude, I won't even use the toilet at work, and that's in my office because that toilet is of Satan itself, man. I have cleaned this toilet repeatedly, man.
The only
And-
toilet that's comfortable is the one at home.
Home, exactly. That's my throne, sir. A
I
king's
don't
throne.
like to poop at strange places. Thank you, Family Guy, for expressing my feelings.
Exactly. But this was just so freaking interesting, though, man. I mean, you really find out that Bondrewd is just like a piece of shit, man, and just,
He's a sicko.
I mean,
Yeah.
I do understand for the sake of trying to figure out the secrets of the abyss, man, but this is just like inhumane. It's like, I just don't give a fuck about human life, period. You know, I'm just gonna get the results that I want because I need to know. I mean, I think like the abyss is like a living organism anyway. So the DB going to it, man, trying to come back up, you're basically gonna lose yourself. So I don't even think I would want to be a cave raider, man.
No, I think that the moral of the story is don't be a cave raider. It's bad for you, okay?
I was like, I would rather just do things like, dude, I can be a cook. I know how to cook in the first place. I was like, cave raiding, pass.
Honestly, based on all of the dangers that you know about before you ever go in there, you have to be at least a little crazy to want to go in there.
Exactly. You got things in there that can kill you.
And that's the stuff that you know about.
Exactly, and not the unknowns.
Yeah.
Now, I will give Rico props, though, man. Like, whatever she finds that's edible, man, she makes it look delicious, though.
Oh, she eats some nasty looking stuff in the second
She
season.
does.
Oh boy.
She eats the equivalent of something, well, y'all know what creadeas are, or Rocky Mountain oysters. Yeah, that happens.
Yep.
But, you know, I could go very foul and other way with this, but, you know, because it's a child and, you know, I'm not going the lewd route on this one, man, because I just can't.
Oh,
You
man.
know, it is what it is. Y'all know how old Darrell was, the reckless in the days of the lawless. So,
Oh boy.
y'all should be glad that I toned it down for this one.
We
Seriously.
have 75% quality Darrell, not quite 100%. That's too much for people.
Hey, that 75% y'all should be grateful for.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, you know, the Umbras were pretty, the Umbra hands were pretty interesting, you know. But Sketch, take it away with more if you know, so we can finish up.
Yeah. So Rico and Prushka rescue Reg from his predicaments, and they escape with Nanachi, and they come up with a plan to try to kill Bondrewd because they notice that the area that they're in is near a stingerhead nest. That is not, stingerheads are like scorpion things, so I don't know what those other things were called, but the stingerheads are the big scorpion things. So they try to set up a trap for Bondrewd, which he falls for, I guess. But he manages to get out of it fairly unscathed, except one of his bodies dies. And this is the moment where we realize that he doesn't inhabit just one body. He inhabits all of his Umbra hands if he wants to. And this is such a interesting, creepy reveal.
Yeah.
They're like, "Yeah, we got you, Bondrewd." Well, hang on a sec. Who's this Umbra hands hanging out for? Wait, what's he doing? He's pulling the mask off?
Why has he got his mask? Why is he putting his mask on?
Why is he putting the mask on? And this is, quote unquote, the Umbra hand that they were supposed to trust.
Yeah.
And all through that fight, it was just a really great fight. I mean, definitely watch this movie for the fights. The fights are awesome.
Yes.
In this first fight that they have with Bondrewd, he's constantly being like, "Oh, that's magnificent that you can do that." Like that is his spiel. Anything that fascinates him, he's sure to compliment you.
He is very
right at
complimentary
the moment.
when you're kicking his butt because he doesn't really think you can win.
Yeah, he's definitely looking down on you, but he's also very impressed at what you're capable of.
I know what it was called in that sketch. It was called Amaranthine the Scepter. That's what
that's it. That's what they were. Nasty little bugs.
Oh yeah.
They're basically parasites, man.
Yeah, they burrow into you and they do stuff to keep you alive so that you can be the
basically
bait
you're
for
like
somebody else.
Think of Matrix but painful.
Yeah.
Very painful.
Damn, I've been giving a lot of references tonight.
Well, I mean, there's clearly a lot being borrowed. Made it best taking ideas from different things and just kind of mixing it all up into a, oh God, why stew?
Yeah, right. For sure.
So,
Prushka has passed out and gets captured by the Umberhand, who turns out to be Bondrewd now. And now Rico, Reagan, and Nanachi are trying to hatch a plan to cut off the ability for Bondrewd to transfer his consciousness. So they go and deal with the Zoaholic, and Reg cuts the power from it and takes it in from himself, which makes him supercharged and super violent. Like he loses his mind, and he manages to come out of that thanks to Nanachi giving him a hug.
Yeah,
Power of hugs is real.
Well, she is fluffy, man. So yeah, I would hug her too, man.
Nanachi is very fluffy. They are very fluffy.
Exactly.
The power of Loof. The power of Loof compels me.
You beat me to it. I was literally about to say the same thing.
Damn it, sketch.
Around this time, Rico becomes aware that Bondrewd's been chopping up his kids and taking the important parts to keep living and sticking them in cartridges.
Yeah, this is some of where the really unsibling stuff starts to really take place.
Yeah, really, really disturbing. So, that is just absolutely disgusting. Oh yeah, somewhere along the lines, they also learned that a white whistle used to be somebody. Any white whistle that exists used to be a living person.
White whistles are people. They're people.
Yeah. I'm like, well, gee, I guess we can't get to the 6th layer unless we got a white whistle. Don't worry, that problem will solve itself. I guess.
Kind of. It's really screwed up when you think about it. Like, this place is literally designed to just screw with people and force you to sacrifice people to keep going. Like, whatever the Abyss is, whoever made it's really screwed up.
Yeah. Well, I very much doubt it's man-made, but
I've had this dumb running theory in my head that it's like a lost spaceship or something.
And it's an interesting theory.
I could be wrong. I'm not married to that, but I the reason I feel like it's not natural is the rest of the world does not appear to be like this. So why only this one spot?
Well, that is a fair question. Anyway, at this point, we get flashbacks to Prushka's early life and find out that when she was a wee child, she was transported to the 5th layer, but experienced some of the curse, and it left her so mentally damaged that everybody was pretty much willing to give up on her. But Bondrewd decided to change his approach and hugged her and said that she would be his daughter and gave her little Menya and tried to nurture her back to health. And over time, she eventually stabilizes and grows up to be a fairly happy, functional little girl. She's probably a teenager at this point, though it's hard to tell with how short she is, but she does have development, so to speak. But she's still very, very, very small. So at this point, we learned that Bondrewd is raising this child for the purpose of using that child's love to give him even greater power when he eventually uses her as one of his cartridges. Jeez, man.
Like I told you, man, he made Shao Tucker look like a saint, and he's basically the Orochimaru of the Abyss.
When you compare him to Shao Tucker clearly loved his daughter and cared about her, but he snapped. He was put under extreme pressure and he snapped, and he did something freaking horrible. Exactly. This guy is not under that kind of pressure. He's just doing it.
No, dude, he's a sociopath, man. He cares all about himself, man.
This guy's just like, oh, well, my research requires it, so all right, let's do this thing.
I mean, I hate to say it, man. Even Orochimaru has somewhat of a heart, man.
Yeah, I mean, definitely by the end. I mean, at this point, everybody's like, oh, there's Orochimaru. Remember when he was so evil? Yeah, we don't talk about that anymore.
Just like Bruno.
Jeez. That is a not sure if it's entirely earned redemption arc, but I digress.
It is what it is, man. Konoha loves burying the secrets.
It sure does. Oh, yeah. And you know else who has secrets? Bondrewd has secrets. So we see in a fight between him and Reg, where he's being forced to use up his cartridges, he is shown to be able to take on what he considers the blessing and gain some floof, as well as dragon legs and a tail and all manner of other things and a whole bunch of eyes. Like, we're starting to look like some kind of biblical monster here.
Just a wee little bit.
But eventually he runs out of cartridges, and his very last cartridge, we sadly determine, used to be Prushka. And we learned this because the cartridge shoots out and Menya runs over and starts licking up the liquid that's leaking out of the cartridge. And you're like, ah! What the fuck?
That is a good description of the movie in general.
It's so horrible.
It is.
It's just so horrible. And the fight continues. They cleverly, Rico uses Reg's severed arm to fire the incinerator at Bondrewd and do some massive damage to him. But he doesn't die because he's got his other consciousnesses he can pass around. Supposedly, they had some kind of agreement not to completely kill him. I don't know. I don't know why they would agree to that.
I don't know, man. He was a threat, dude. Just go ahead and end him. Unalive.
Seriously.
Him.
They really should have killed him.
He needed like a serious unaliving.
But it was Prushka's wish that he not die.
Sometimes you just can't honor a certain request. That was one time that you don't.
And then Rico sees, as she's holding onto the cartridge that used to be Prushka, which is pulsating and spewing liquid, and Rico's trying to put the liquid back in. It's so disturbing.
Yeah.
So disturbing.
That was like a lot of liquid DNA.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And then a little white skeleton type thing pops out, and it seems to be the incomplete form of a white whistle, which is what is required for them to continue down to the 6th layer. And somewhat surprisingly, Bondrewd doesn't take it from them. He says that the whistle belongs to Rico, because that's what Prushka wanted.
He's a really weird character in that he doesn't really regard other people, and yet he seemed to care about honoring someone's wishes. I don't understand.
He also, in his own sickening way, honors all of the children that he grinded to mush.
Yeah, he literally still takes care of them, man, in his own way.
He does.
He names them as they are no longer among the living. He recognizes the hollows at the bottom of the pit where he's left so many of his failures to just live there.
He's a very odd character, because I'm not going to call him a good person in the slightest,
No,
but there's something, there's almost a personal honor to him that's very unique.
He has a code of some sort.
I mean, that much you can say. At least he has that much human decency. But he kind of like, let's see.
He's a real ask for forgiveness rather than permission.
Yeah.
In the worst way possible.
I mean, I don't know who I dislike more, him or Ozen, because Ozen was kind of crazy too.
I like Ozen. Ozen was actually like someone who seemed to care, though. Like, in her own...
she's a little twisted, but
she's a little twisted, but
not Bondrewd twisted, but
no.
I would take Ozen 1,000,000 times over Bondrewd.
The thing about Bondrewd that is probably the most disturbing is he genuinely seems to have a love for all of these children. It's just such a twisted form of it that it's absolutely abhorrent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that, the elevator to make it down to the 6th layer is opened up, and our group decide to enter it. And the journey continues in season 2.
And now we watch the movie, so you don't have to.
Yeah. You should be grateful.
I still would generally recommend that people check it out.
I can't
even
say
though
not
it's
to watch
extremely uncomfortable at points.
It is very well made, and it's good storytelling. Legit, it is.
It is. It's just disturbing. That's all. People.
Oh yeah, but then I haven't gotten there yet, but I've heard about season 2, so buckle up.
Season 2 is pretty sick.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you, it is pretty sick, man.
I all right. So season 2 is starting this week. I want to give you listeners a heads up that the very first moment of that episode could be triggering.
Yeah.
It involves a minor and sexual assault.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. And y'all know how I feel about that kind of stuff, man. I mean, I almost gave up on this, and I'm really not sure how far I'm going to continue with Made in Abyss, because there are things that really disturb me with it. And it is very
you almost wonder why this movie wasn't the point of no return.
It was for Kuro.
It was for Kuro, and I
don't blame
respect
her.
that.
I don't blame her one little bit. And I've been debating with all I'm hearing about season 2, especially right now. I'm like, oh no.
I mean,
part of me almost can't believe they're playing it. There's some disturbing stuff in there.
I mean, I don't know how much more I can deal with because it's just certain things that just don't sit right with me. I mean, it's just kind of hard to talk about, folks, especially when you probably dealt with some of this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's
I feel that we are reaching the threshold where it's no longer enjoyable enough to look past all of this gross stuff.
The shit is not forgivable, man.
That is about how I was feeling by the end of season 2. Like, I don't know if I want to continue this.
To be honest with you, I think depending on how I feel, man, I think I'm just going to give up on it. I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not that invested in it to the point where I'm like, I just got to watch this.
I would like to see where the story goes, but I'm also very concerned that if it's just getting worse and worse and worse, I might hit that point.
I mean, it's not the first time I done dropped stuff because, trust me, Goblin Slayer.
Oh, God.
I dropped that as soon as I saw what happened, man. That was a big-ass trigger. I did the same, like Shield Heroes, some things that were said that pissed me the fuck off about slaves. That's something that strikes home with me, I know it's not for everybody, everybody is different on their views and stuff, like, it's just, but it hits home with me for my own reasons.
Well, and whenever you're dealing with anything that's touchy subject matter, everyone's going to have a different point of no return.
Yeah, and I was like, y'all don't understand, if you never been taught that history, people got mad at me probably when I was Dragon the Queen in England. I was like, there are some things that y'all don't know that were taught to me in my history that I have to deal with. And I was like, in 1905, they stole the Star of Africa from South Africa. That is actually something that's part of the crown jewels, and a lot, like 90% of Africa's treasures are actually in other places in the world. But that's here nor there for that. But look, tangent over with. But Made in Abyss, I say if you want to continue to press on, then go ahead. The story has me confused. It's interesting. Not so much it doesn't confuse me, but it's just the way and approach how things have been going. And, assault on a minor, in a sexual manner. Y'all know how I feel about that right there. I don't
think anybody's going to be like, ooh, I want to see it now. I think everyone's going to be...
You'd be surprised that some people want to see those things.
Whenever these things happen in this show, it's never depicted like it's acceptable. It's always depicted as this is a horrible thing that happened and this has scarred this person. By the way, that character is not Rico. It's not anybody that we have met so far. Just so you know. It's literally the first thing that happens in the episode. You're like, oh, okay, well, this is Made in Abyss, all right.
Oof.
And later in the episode, more gross but less disturbing things happen.
Yeah.
The Abyss is definitely incredibly fucked up.
Yeah, it is. So this is what I'll say about the second season. It not only follows the journey of our trio down to the sixth layer, but it also tells the story of a previous group of explorers that came down there a long time ago, like maybe even before Orth existed. And that's an interesting juxtaposition. Those two timelines come to a head, and things that happened way, way, way back when certainly matter to what's going to happen to our trio. If you've seen the preview that Toonami has aired, which is, by the way, a very good preview, they did a much better job promoting the second season than the first.
Yeah, they did do that.
Oh, yeah.
I suppose, in fairness, they wanted to, bury the lead with the first promo. But I mean, the show's called Made in Abyss. Come on. So you get a look at this village of hollows. Yeah, you see that it's a fascinating place with all manner of creatures, many of them shaped like genitalia, and our trio have found themselves in this village and get to deal with all the quirks of the village and the storied history thereof as they try to continue their journey. So that's kind of your precursor. It continues to have fantastic music, good animation, really creative design work, and you'll probably find yourself liking a lot of the new characters, maybe disliking some of them. But I'll leave the rest to those who are watching.
Don't have to take my word for it.
I do plan on reliving it on Toonami. I haven't seen more than a bit of the dub, so I thought I'd rewatch it on Toonami and see everybody's live reactions as they happen, because that's the fun
gonna
part.
Be a thing.
So I'm gonna be the new Kuro. You're gonna watch me suffer in Kuro's place.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Suffer.
Excellent. All right. Well, as long as I know where I stand, that's fine.
Good night,
And
everybody.
you will suffer.
Oh, I'm sure.
There will be suffering.
Yeah, I might just look at y'all. I might just watch it just for the hell, just to see our reactions. Because if I had to see this, y'all gonna have to see this too, and I really want y'all to suffer.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So that's your precursor to Made in Abyss Season 2. And honestly, you've gotten this far into this podcast, so I'm not concerned about you not knowing what happened. But some people are concerned that viewers are going to be confused and stop watching because of that confusion. But I really think that's the case. They'll probably be like, oh, why is Reg missing an arm? And what's this other white whistle that Rico has?
That's about it, because otherwise, like, okay, they just kept going through the abyss.
Yeah, they just kept going through the abyss.
Yeah, because once you hear it calling it Prushka, you'll understand why.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, why is Rico calling that white whistle a name?
Prushka.
There's a reason for that. Oh, you also might be wondering, what's that little pink thing hanging out with him? Minya! Oh.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, it's not that. It's not like, yes, these are plot important things because you really want to know what Bondrude's been up to all this time, because that really shows a lot of what the Abyss is capable of. But is it story essential? Not necessarily. Still, I would recommend that you watch it, even if you've chosen not to watch it and just listen to us talk about it. You can watch it on Hulu. You can watch it on High Dive. You can rent it on digital platforms. You could buy it. There's your options. It's unfortunate that Toonami couldn't play the movie, but, movies are kind of a hard sell. You only get to show them once. They're expensive, and look, Toonami doesn't have a lot of money right now.
No, they don't.
We're very lucky that they managed to score a recently dubbed show that was just from the summer season.
Anti-bless.
Yeah, there was some question of whether or not Lupin was really something that they got from Sentai, but seeing as it replaced Made in Abyss and then Made in Abyss kind of replaced it, I feel like, yeah, it was a Sentai license and they can get one Sentai thing at a time.
Maybe we'll get Lupin Zero in the near future.
Yeah, I wish.
It's coming to High Dive, so that's possible. I would not be surprised if they even played Lupin's third part 1.
I would actually love that, because it's actually really fun. I got the Blu-ray a while ago. It's a good.
That would really bust down the barriers of things are too old to air on Toonami.
Yes, it would.
But Jason has said he is looking into classic anime that haven't aired on Toonami before. That'd definitely be one for the bucket list.
I've definitely got a laundry list, although a lot of those are in the no-go zone of Crunchyroll now.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll still ain't got half of the shit that we were supposed to have once they did the
Monopolies are fun, kids.
No, they're not, kids.
No, they're not.
But you know what?
Nothing good came from it.
I'll put it to you like this. If you really want to hurt these companies, you're really going to have to start not spending your money.
Yeah, that's tough if you're trying to put the screws to Sony because they own a lot of things.
I know.
Yeah. I'm trying to add a little bit of pressure, but God knows if it's going to do anything.
No, because they got income coming in from different other places, streams of income, so.
Well, at the very least, they did not recast Iruma-kun, which is still being dubbed at Bang Zoom.
I am taking that as a positive sign, and I am crossing my fingers and hoping that they don't want to admit that they screwed up, but they're going to change course. That's what I'm hoping is going on.
They know they screwed up, man, but that's too much like right if they were to admit it. And I'm talking about, I don't see nothing wrong with taking accountability and saying, hey.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. But, these companies have, weird pride issues. But as long as they actually do...
Companies never admit their mistakes.
They're not going to admit mistakes. But, if they change course, to me, that's good enough.
Yeah, because I was genuinely concerned about basically any Los Angeles dub that Crunchyroll had previously commissioned.
Yeah, I was too.
So, that's a good sign. It makes the mob situation all the more baffling. But we can hope that it's a reaction to all the crap they got for doing that. And if it's not, then I guess they just really wanted to prioritize same-day release, which is funny because they don't even promote that on their Twitters. Like, they have 2 Twitters where they could be promoting Mob Psycho's dub, and they don't.
I think they know exactly what will happen if they do.
Yeah.
I mean, even in completely unrelated things, people are handing it to them. They've taken the biggest L on social media I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm. So that brings me to another interesting development with Toonami's upcoming schedule, that they are only looking to be rerunning 3 episodes of My Hero Academia Season 5. What could that mean? Well,
that's a good question.
The somewhat obvious theory is they'll probably get Season 6. How they accomplish it, your guess is as good as mine, but I would figure it's either the pre-existing contracts keeping them from walking away, or maybe a little pressure from the Japanese companies involved.
The only thing I can think of, if it's going where we hope it goes, and I really do hope it goes there, is that maybe they were able to kind of be like, hey, we have this existing relationship for this show. What if we are significantly behind the simuldub release? Because there's already 3 episodes out right now on Crunchyroll. By the time we get to 3 more, that's almost half of a season right there.
Yeah. Well, we could theorize that.
I don't know.
But you know what would be funny?
Nice.
You know what would be funny? If that was just keeping the space warm for Bleach.
That would be amazing.
I don't know why they couldn't play Bleach this day after Hulu puts it up. Just seems real weird that they would put out the dub on Friday when the simulcast is on Monday. Unless there was a reason for doing it. But that reason is not to be airing on Toonami on November 5th, unfortunately. So, I don't know. If you don't want to wait, I don't hold it against you. Just watch Bleach however you want.
Consume it how you want, people.
Yes. In Japanese, dubbed.
Coming to something. Whether or not it's coming to Toonami, I don't know, but it's coming.
If it comes to Toonami, I can just, kind of tell people up there is because they said it wouldn't come back to Toonami. That's the only reason why I wanted to come back. But if it doesn't, but Bleach always came back in some form because, you had the voice actors of Bleach doing some other anime that was on there.
True.
So I was like, Bleach never dies, baby.
As dim as it feels not getting, a bunch of the anime, I actually think Toonami's going to come out of this stronger because, if I'm being honest, I almost never watch stuff on actual Toonami because it's on Funimation now, Crunchyroll, it's on High Dive, it's on this or that, and I'm already watching all of those. You want to know what I tuned in to Toonami for? Housing Complex C, Shenmue, Black Lotus, Fena. These originals are actually going to me to tune in because I can't see them anywhere else.
Precisely. And about Housing Complex C. Now, we already had an episode where various members of our staff have talked about how they feel about that show. But hey, the three of us weren't on that podcast. So
I do want to say I appreciate the shout out for people saying I was right. I am Kimi's prophet.
He was right. There was a time displacement nonsense going on.
I'm just happy because I'm usually wrong.
It's a good theory. Yeah. You could have been like, well, that's a theory, but nah, but you stuck to your guns.
I felt like it just felt like it clicked. That's all. But I honestly say I really feel like that finale just landed perfectly. I have no complaints.
Yeah, I think it was a very good ending. I am a little bummed that it amounted to 2 fairly long exposition dumps.
Yeah, it could. The show would have done better with like another episode or two, probably just one, just to.
That's what some of the other folks are saying. But this is my thought. Not enough happened in the first 2 episodes. They should have combined the first 2 into the first episode, then have like elements of the first 2 into the first episode. Then episode 3 was episode 2, and then episode 3 could be like the first half of this with Taka explaining all about the lore, and you kind of end with the chase.
That's fair. I think that could totally work.
As much the 4th episode would be, Kimi finally showing herself to Yuri.
That was amazing. I love yours. Like, I'm going to kill you. Ha ha ha. Sure you are. That was one of my favorite scenes I've seen. I'm just like, you don't know what you've done.
Oh, Kimi's just so over it.
Yeah.
It's like, you're actually pretty stupid. Yeah, some stupidity's to be expected. I was going to let this all slide, but you messed with Housing Complex C, and I cannot let that.
I'm actually kind of sad with the way it ended. Not like it's bad. No, it's a great ending, but it's kind of sad because all she wanted was a place to belong and people that she cared about to be there, and it's all gone now.
Yeah, it all had to be ruined by the Koshide family.
They all had to be crazy psychopaths. Great.
Yeah.
But
hey, I mean, I guess that Cthulhu knife that I spotted was really a Cthulhu knife, though.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to... Okay, so Kimi's not Cthulhu.
No, she's not.
Kuzululu is the Cthulhu... like the rename of Cthulhu that the Koshide family, particularly the father of the Koshide family, he worships that deity, and so do all of the fish creatures. Kimi is the other thing I can't pronounce. Starts with a Y, and she is a reality shifting god that can revive other gods. And that's interesting. I feel, in a sense, this pulled a reverse Finna ending. And I mean that as in, at the end of Fena, somebody was telling the sort of god what they need to do. And they have to make this choice between resetting the world or leaving it as it is. And in Housing Complex C, the god is monologuing to the normal person about what she's going to do because everything got screwed up.
Yeah, I could see that comparison.
Also, very stupidly, one went from white to black, the other went from black to white.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, I can understand why some people would feel like that's a bit of a cop-out and surprisingly similar to Fena's ending in a way. But at the same time, I feel like Housing Complex earned it.
Yeah.
Fena, not so much. Just felt really abrupt.
And
with
Fena had a lot of unanswered threads. It had a lot of, hey, we're gonna redeem this villain, but not
Why?
really. We're gonna say we redeemed him, but we really didn't do anything to actually do that. Cool. Here, honestly, all of the major threads are resolved. As much as I personally would love to see more, it stands alone on its own just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Seemingly the only survivors are Kimi and Kon.
Also, Kon, because he yeeted out of there.
Oh, yeah. Rubel, the
Rubel.
smartest guy in a
Yes.
horror movie,
He's just
realized
like,
he was in a horror movie and decided to get the hell out of Dodge.
Smartest
He's
thing
like,
you
I'm
ever
out
did.
of here. And believe me to say
It's
the
like-
wrong name, but yes. Rubel is just not
Rubel.
having any of that.
Rubel's like, let me see here. I am a brown man in a horror scenario. I am leaving.
Goodbye.
Exactly.
You're not taking Kon with you? No, Kon decided to stay.
And he is the only one that stayed that lived.
Yeah. Only because Kimi protected him.
Yes, I do love that reversal from the beginning where we think, oh god, he's gonna go psycho and kill some kids, or oh what, and then like in the middle it's like, oh no, what's gonna happen to him to make him go crazy? No, nothing. He was protecting Kimi. I love that. I love that it didn't change anything about what actually happened. It just changed your perspective. So it was all true from a certain point of view.
Yes. An optical illusion.
An optical illusion.
Yes.
But I love this. This was I really do want more, but I don't know that you can do more.
Well, I could probably expand upon it in some ways, but I'm not entirely sure how they would go about that.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Like, there are things you could do, but
Like, what's
honestly,
Kimi gonna do next?
Housing Complex F, where we skip D&E.
Housing Complex F or fuck this.
That's how Kimi was feeling at the end there.
Yeah.
That was the most gruesome thing to happen to a little girl on Toonami next to Mitty
Yeah.
and Nina.
And you want to know what, though? This one was earned, and so I was literally cheering the whole time, even though it was horrible. I'm like, yeah, you earned this.
Man, Yuri, you two-faced bitch.
Exactly. So
He's
while
like,
it is horrible,
oh, you're a god? Oh, I'm sorry that I said you were boring. Oh, let me worship you. I'll do anything for you.
who do you want me to kill for you? I'll kill anyone you want. Oh god, what's going on?
What's this moss? It's like, thank you. Shut her up.
Please. I have never been happier to see someone get exactly what they deserved.
I knew that girl was sus.
Oh yeah, there was something.
Yeah.
Something up with it.
Well, it's time to eject her. And somebody press the emergency button.
Let me get your parents. Oh, here's his arm.
Well,
Here's her thigh.
Yeah, that's great. I honestly,
So that was kind of
if I
interesting.
had-
You know what? This is taking too long. Here's the rest.
I honestly would have loved to have seen their perspective as that was happening to them, because that also would have been pretty satisfying.
Oh yeah, that would have
It's
been.
like, what's going on?
What is going on?
They were garbage, man.
They were horrible. And I was sussing on him in the first episode, but I forgot about it. But he in the first episode was like, "Oh yeah, they have no idea."
Yeah, that's like the one good clue that there was something up with the Koshide.
That and
other
again,
than
the
the
Cthulhu
knife.
Yeah.
But I really feel like they could have foreshadowed that better.
Yeah, there could have been more hints. There could have been.
It's because like the whole time the show is trying to make you think that somebody's mind controlling Khan or some of the other interns or something. And
they're optical illusions.
But there's really no there's only just a few minor hints that the rest of Yuri's family are psychos. If you watch the opening, you're already going to be thinking, there's something sus about that, Yuri.
What's interesting about that is the mom looks like she was just kind of going along. She was being pressured into it almost.
Yeah, she was, but she obviously was
not against the idea, but not like wouldn't have done it on her own is what I would say.
Yeah. Gotta say though, that was one hell of a genjutsu to be in.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't infinite Tsukuyomi, but it's up there.
Oh, the infinite filler Yomi is on its way.
Good one. Oh,
boy.
Pun,
I'm sure, Darrell, you appreciated in the first episode when they're like, no, drinking is very important.
Trust me, I think I grinned from ear to ear on that because y'all know my views on drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I have beyond the realm of what I am now. I am literally ultra instinct drinking.
Oh no. And this is the drink one step beyond.
Exactly. Y'all know I moved from God tier on that, man, because Sketch has seen me drink.
I think you and I are polar opposites because I'm the weirdo that doesn't drink.
It's okay. I drink your portion for you.
There you go. You and I make one normal person.
Look here, one of my frat brothers literally said, he's like, "Oh, here comes Darrell. That's my drinking double." He's like, "I'm gonna have to drink in my hand, then switch to Darrell." Woo! It's like, yep. But seriously, I can drink people under the table.
And over the table.
Yes, I can. I mean, when people see me drink, it's like he wasn't lying, people. Like, especially the first year at MomoCon, Jose was like, when we went to the green room, Jose was like, "Darrell, do not get drunk. Do not drink a lot of alcohol." Like, I make no promises, but I'll behave. Because I could have drunk a whole lot more than what I did.
Do you have any additional thoughts on Housing Complex C, Darrell?
No, I'm good, man. Y'all pretty much summed it up, though, man. I'm just glad that, the Koshihides got everything, they deserve. Especially Yuri. It was a moment. It was like the coming up is that I just chef's kiss.
Oh yes.
That's
yes.
awesome.
When the body parts spilled down, I was remembering the initial visual preview that we got for Housing Complex C, where a fairly similar thing happened.
So with I would say that exchange with Yuri and Kimi, I was like, you can really say, let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, I'm done.
There's one thing. With the opening sequence, they showed, like, characters running around in the caves, and the caves doing weird things, and it's like, I wanted to see some of that.
That would have been pretty neat.
Yeah,
like, in that last episode, they could have done some other cool things with the caves, but well.
Maybe that's something that we can have fun with in some sort of a continuation or something. Maybe Kimi tries it again. Who knows?
Maybe.
At this point, I think she's just done.
I think she's just done too, but
because human beings really are trash, man.
Can be. We really can be.
Oh, trust me, man. I deal with human beings over the telephone.
Man, I worked retail. Trust me, I know.
Yes, sir. So you already know. Retail sucks, people. Don't ever
I
work
worked
it.
retail for 3 years and tech support for about 8.
And also, Christmas is coming around the corner real soon. The dreaded song will be coming out.
Oh
And
boy.
I do not.
Do not invoke its name.
No, I won't. I refuse to.
If we don't acknowledge it, it might not happen.
Dude, trust me. I have people on my timeline right now on Facebook
Jeez.
saying they can't wait to hear that song, and I was like, I fucking hate it.
Why would you want that?
I was like,
I like Christmas music, but I don't like that one.
dude, look here. The only thing I need to hear is the Temptations, man. And when I hear that,
just give me some Trans-Siberian Orchestra and I'm happy.
hey, dude, you do not mess with this dang on Motown classic, man.
Yeah, that's good too. That's good too.
Thank you. We got to make sure that we remember that.
I love the classics.
Yes. But yeah, I think that's about it, man. I think we'd have just really went on a tangent.
we did.
But the thing is, Housing Complex C, as in its whole entirety, was great. And even though it was a short-lived series, I would actually watch that again, even if they did a second run on Toonami.
Yeah, I think it probably is best viewed as a marathon.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would actually really hope they come out with a home video release for this because I would totally buy it just to show it to people and be like, "Look, here's a whole thing." That's a single sitting viewing, and that is one of the great strengths it has. Honestly, for as much as it had, wish you could reorganize some of the content around to get it a little bit better. It's a banger, man. It works really well.
Yeah,
And
by the end of the 3rd episode, it had a lot to account for, and it managed to do so, which is impressive. Seeing as this is the first anime scenario that Amphibian has ever written, it's the first anime series that Studio Akatsuki has ever put together. So that's pretty high marks. And
Absolutely.
Personally, I would rank it somewhere around 2nd or 3rd best Toonami original, behind IGPX and Coolie Coolie Alternative.
I would actually put it 2nd, but I probably, but only behind Fully Cool Alternative, but right in front of IGPX. So like, about the same spot, really.
Yeah, which good.
Yeah,
Very good. Very good. It could have been better, but for what it was, it's pretty dang solid.
it could have been better in the way that anything could be better, but it's rock solid. It's one of the best things I've seen them make ever. So yeah.
I mean, I really did enjoy it a lot. Like I said, it was short. Of course, they could have expanded on a couple of things, just to stretch it out so, you can get a little bit of understanding of what it was and what it was worth. It was really good.
As one more thing to say, I'm really disappointed that there are people out there that are very offended by the depiction of Middle Eastern culture.
Yeah, that was interesting to come across because the show's very clearly not on the side of the racist
Of
behavior.
racism.
Yeah, it was very clearly, don't do this. This is bad. And having someone go, oh, well, they're portraying them poorly. I'm like, no, they're really not.
Exactly.
Now, I am a white Christian boy, so I won't speak for Muslims.
Same, to be honest.
But I've seen Muslims depicted in other media, and I think compared to a lot of things is very respectful.
Yeah.
I mean, Khan is just literally an amazing character. He's a good dude.
Yes, he is. And it's interesting that Kimi acknowledges Khan's deity.
That is interesting, yes.
He says,
Your God will forgive you.
If your God will forgive you if you do this.
I think that's what kind of touched King, the fact that he was devout in that,
Yeah.
And the thing is, from Khan, it came from a place of kindness and understanding, though.
Hmm.
But, I really hate when people, get things misconstrued and try to play the race card. Like, of course, a lot of bad things happen, and I'm not going to dismiss that at all. You're allowed to feel the way you do, feel that, how you feel is valid. Because I don't like that being, my feelings, concerns, and views to be dismissed, because it happens a lot, especially, when you're, someone ethnic race or your your religious beliefs. But when you see that something is actually depicting it and calling it out and showing like this is a real world situation. But when you're trying to dig in something and try to blow it up and try to put a negative on it, then you're doing a disservice to it, because I have seen plenty of things in my lifetime when it comes to someone of another religion, whether it be Muslim, Hindi, Christian, whatnot. And those depictions can be very bad, and it causes a rift between people.
Well, anime in particular is actually really bad about this sort of thing. And so seeing them, go, oh, hey, here's these guys, they're doing their thing, and, the locals are being racist toward them. Hey, don't be racist. They weren't doing anything wrong. Don't be like this. That's a good message. And you can't hide from these sorts of things. You can't be like, let's just pretend there are no racists and there are no bad people. And it was not even bad people. Like, House of Comic C weren't bad people. They were just backwards. And then they're like, oh, yeah, no, don't be like that. And they're like, oh, yeah, maybe I won't be like that. That's a good message.
Exactly. And the thing is, if some people, especially for you, some of the small-minded folks, anime really does call out a lot of things, injustice and racism in the world. I mean, they really show it and they call it out. So it brings attention to a lot of people who wouldn't actually be exposed to this. Because trust me,
this does a better job of than something else that I mean, we talked about recently was the Fisherman Island arc, which I think I like more than the rest of you guys did. But while it's ham-fisted and at certain places and kind of not doing it as well as it could, Fisherman Island does cover the topic of racism and say racism bad, and this does that too. But this does that in a more human way, because we're not treating the people who are being racist are not pure evil, but they are doing something wrong, and they need to be corrected, and that is a much more likely scenario than coming across a bunch of evil people who want to murder people.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, as being a black man, trust me, I know what it's like to experience racism, because I still experience it from time to time. And trust me, it's not a good feeling.
No, I couldn't.
Especially when I'm dealing with ass backwards people. So sometimes I have to be professional, but there is a line that I will draw. I feel completely disrespected. I'm going to correct people, but you might not get corrected the way you think you're going to get corrected, because it's fuck around and find out time. And trust me, I will make you feel so fucking bad that your descendants are going to feel it for the next goddamn 1,000 years.
All right.
Okay. Let's finish up and let's do some dang on cleanup sketch so we can get up out of here.
Yeah, you can email us at podcast@ToonamiFaithful.com. You can follow us on Facebook.com/ToonamiFaithfulPodcast and on Twitter @ToonamiPodcast. You can listen to the podcast on just about everything, including iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, Amazon. You can find every episode of the podcast to stream online at SoundCloud.com/ToonamiFaithfulPodcast. You can get the latest news by following @ToonamiNews on Twitter and read the news, views, and reviews on ToonamiFaithful.com. Okay, Laser, tell them where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on Twitter @LaserKid Prime. You can find my Toonami-focused editorials right here on Toonami Faithful. And you can find me on the cavalcade of podcasts that V-Lord does, including the Demon Slayer podcast and the Dumb Weaves podcast, among many others.
All right. And Mr. Darrell, where can they find you?
As always, you can find me at ukami_7 at twitter.com, or you can find me on my other one, _ROID at twitter.com. And that's pretty much it for these days, people.
All right. You can find me on Twitter at Sketch1984. And I had some recent appearances on Surreal Resolutions podcast O&A. I think probably the most recent episode, or maybe two of the most recent episodes, maybe not back to back. One was kind of their typical news podcast. They talked about what was the convention that was recent? not this past weekend, but I don't remember. Maybe it was the Anime Expo. Yeah, I think they were covering Anime Expo on that one. There's that one, and then the podcast where I had a lot more to say was the new fall season podcast, where we talk about the shows of the fall season, including returning shows like Spy Family and My Hero Academia, and new shows like Chainsaw Man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That was a good time. So check that out on Surreal Resolutions podcast O&A. You can look up podcast O&A on your preferred podcast search engines, but definitely it's on iTunes / Apple, whatever. What is it called these days? Apple Play?
I have no idea, dude. I
See,
don't mess with Apple.
It was Google Play. What was it? Apple, something. I don't know. Still iTunes to me. It's still iTunes to everybody. You can't just rebrand that. It will always be iTunes. Anyway, we are looking forward to continuing the journey of Made in Abyss with all of you who are willing to continue the journey. And we will occasionally touch back on that show, along with talking about some other shows that have recently finished, such as Lupin. We're due for a conversation about that. Kuro really wants to do that, and try to get that done soon. And we will also hopefully have more news to discuss in the coming weeks, but it could be a couple of weeks. They do like to make us wait until like 1 or 2 weeks before. Such is the way it goes.
The element of surprise, people. The element of surprise.
Yeah, something like that. So it is a bit of a bummer that Toonami has seemingly cut down an hour, and no more double One Pieces.
Alas.
Couldn't last forever. I'm just glad they got through Fishman Island because
oh gosh, me too. And hey, we're in Punk Hazard. You gotta love Punk Hazard.
Yeah, Punk Hazard is a bit more palpable one episode a week than Fishman Island ever was. But boy, I really hope we go back to 2 episodes a week once they get to Dressrosa.
Yeah.
Whew, boy. Yeah, I think it's fine that Toonami's trimmed the fat a little bit, because they got to stretch out their content. They don't know when the next meal is coming, so to speak. So for now, we got Made in Abyss Season 2, which hopefully this podcast has prepared you for. And beyond that, who knows? Maybe My Hero Season 6, maybe something else. Things are coming. We'll let you know when we know. So until next time, thank you for listening, and we're punching out.
When you are Bondrude and you don't know right from wrong, make a little whistle. Make a little whistle.
Deuces!
Classic arcade brawlers are always a good time, but when it's Ninja Turtle flavored, cowabunga. In the early 90s, the Turtles blew up. Everywhere you looked, there was Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo kicking shell and saving the Big Apple. But way before they were known for their cartoon pizza-eating antics, they were known as total badasses. And now they're back again, coming straight from the sewers to take Shredder down once and for all. What you see is what you get, and what you get is old school fun. It's all here. Combos, power-ups, collectibles, and your favorite characters. The only downside? It's really short. You can complete the story mode in just a couple hours.
Easy peasy.
But luckily, the arcade mode ups the difficulty, and with up to 6-player co-op, the fun goes on and on. We give Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge an 8 out of 10. Turtles are timeless.
Looks like another victory for the forces of good.
Every Saturday night at midnight, Adult Swim is building you a better cartoon show. We call it Toonami.
Good.
Toonami, every Saturday night. Don't sleep on it.